I wanted all of you to get introduced to our next voice for Jalvani, Ms. Preeyam Budhia, the president of Patton Group, a champion of sustainability and conservation, who reminds us that responsibility begins at home but ripples into the world. Priyam launched a sustainable vertical which concentrates on water conservation initiatives like water on wheels, roller tanks, and rainwater harvesting. I would request all of you to please put your hands together as I welcome her on the stage now and hand over the microphone.
For most of us here, water is just a twist of a tap away. But for millions in India, water means hours of walking, heavy loads, and lost opportunities. Water is becoming the next luxury, and that reality demands change. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Priyam Budhia. I studied management and entrepreneurship in the UK, worked in global banks in London, and could have stayed there. But I chose to come back home because I believe business should be beyond profit. My question has always been simple. How can business become a wheel of change? So imagine this. What if your tap did not have enough water? What if we did not have a tap at all? That is reality for millions. What happens to your day? Take a second to close your eyes and imagine the beginning of the next decade. Is it lush, green, and water rich, or parched, arid, and water scarce? The crisis is here and needs proactive solutions now. And it won't be exaggerating to say that the next war will be over water. India has 17% of the world's population, but only 4% of fresh water. 600 million already face a high water crisis. 2 lakh people die every year due to unsafe water. So, what is the true cost of water? The cost of water is not only in rupees, it is in its health, dignity, and lost opportunity. So this is an interesting image, right? I see a lot of kids in the hall, and you must be wondering what this is all about. When I first heard the term Pani Bais, I was intrigued. Who are they? Why this name? Let me take you to a small village in Maharashtra called Denganmal. Here, men marry not only one wife, but two or even three. They call them Pani Bais, which is actually water wives. Not wives for love, not for companionship, but for survival. Mostly widows or single mothers, their only duty is to fetch water. Every day, these women walk miles under a burning, scorching sun, having been turned into glorified water mules. Polygamy, which is illegal in India, has quietly become normalized here. Because when water is scarce, society bends its rules. Because when water is scarce, it takes away dignity before it takes away life. Now, let me take you from rural India to global cities and even back home. Day zero is the day when a city's municipal water supply completely runs out. Taps are switched off, homes and businesses go dry, and people queue at public collection points for a small daily ration. So, just to give you an example, Cape Town in South Africa came closest in 2018. After 3 years of drought, the city announced potential day zero for April. If it had arrived, 4 million people would have survived on just 25 liters a day, collected under guard. The city barely escaped with drastic restrictions and strict public discipline. The warning soon came closer to home. So, in June 2019, Chennai made international headlines when the city officials declared that day zero had arrived. Most of our cities face the risk of day zero when taps run dry. A BBC report ranked Bangalore, imagine Bangalore, second in the world most likely to run out of drinking water. India's own Niti Aayog later warned that by 2020, 21 major cities in India, including Bangalore, could face day zero. Groundwater is vanishing, tankers are lifelines, and families already live the reality of dry taps. No city, no matter how advanced, is immune to water breakdown. Pani buys in rural Maharashtra to a potential day zero in Bangalore, two extremes of India, both shaped by the same crisis. When water disappears, it doesn't just change routines, it actually rewrites lives. In a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world, change is the only constant. We've all been hearing about climate change for over a decade. We've all been seeing scary numbers and stats and projections. But has that been enough to inspire us to not just make a change ourselves personally, but become a wheel of change in society? So, let me tell you about my own personal story. Enough of facts and figures. For me, it all began on a sunny Sunday afternoon. The first time I saw Geeta, or rather, Geeta found me, I was 6 years old and doing something I had been explicitly told not to do, climbing a tree in the backyard. I was lunging for the higher branch of the mango tree, and instead of shooing me down, she helped me up. And of course, immediately proceeded to become my next best friend. This friendship lasted till I set a sail for the UK for my higher studies. But when I returned home for good, I came home to know Geeta. She had retired to her village, and that's where I went to visit her. We were having a wonderful time just catching up till her daughter in law walked in to say, "It is time to go fetch water." Seeing the confused look on my face, Geeta said, "This is not like the city. There is no piped water here. So we need to go to the tube well at the other end of the village. It will take 2 hours at least to go and come back." As I saw Geeta, her daughter in law, and two granddaughters, aged 8 and 11, who had to skip school for this, gather an assortment of buckets, paint buckets, and jerry cans to set out on this quest for water, I felt like a foreigner in my own country. Even the firm but lovable nanny, kind of like an Indian Mary Poppins, she handed me a bright yellow jerry can and asked me to make myself useful. I had grown up privileged in a developing country and moved to an even more developed one, which is the UK. I had no idea that something that is so basic, a basic right, something we take for granted every single day, was costing rural families in water scarce geographies their health, their children, their education, and the women their empowerment. I realized this was not just an inconvenience, this was injustice. Geeta's story was not hers alone. It was the story of millions and millions of women and girls in rural India. Globally, women and girls spend approximately 200 million hours every day to fetch water. And a rural Indian woman walks anywhere between 5 to 10 kilometers a day to access and transport water. As a company, we explored how to make every drop count because dignity should never be a luxury. This sparked the start of Patton's innovation vertical, which designs simple, scalable, yet sustainable solutions. Let's take a look at our first design, a roller tank, which is called the Patton Water on Wheels.
জীবনের জল তরঙ্গে জীবনের নতুন ছন্দে জীবনের অঙ্গে অঙ্গে প্যাটার্ন সবুজ সকালের ভাষা ছোট ছোট আশা ভালোবাসা জীবনের সাথে জীবনের জন্য প্যাটার্ন জীবনের জল তরঙ্গে প্যাটার্ন প্যাটার্ন
So, as you saw in the video, this is a roller tank. It's also called the water on wheels. And this tank is a 90-liter tank, which is actually 5 times the volume of a regular bucket, which women and girls used to carry in rural India on top of their heads, on the side of their waists. This allows for faster, easier, safer transport of water. This ergonomic roller design and handle also make it move like a wheelbarrow, and it helps to reduce the physical fatigue that women face to fetch water. This design also, in most importantly, it also brings down hospital costs. It decreases the health hazards because the head and spinal injuries have gone down. When you move the roller tank like a wheelbarrow, it really reduces a lot of health issues. The biggest thing is there is now women equality and also women safety because earlier only women used to go to fetch water. Now men and women both go to fetch water since we've distributed these roller tanks. And besides that, because women and men both go to fetch water, that means increased safety and also better gender equality. And the attendance of the girl child in the schools has improved because now, instead of just fetching water on a daily basis, they roll this tank once every 5 days instead of going every single day to fetch water. And also, the women who used to fetch water on a daily basis, now it's leading to greater empowerment because the women are also using their time more productively by, making handicrafts, achars, all of that in the villages instead of fetching water on a daily basis. So the biggest impact, as we can see, is after good health is the gift of time. Earlier, people used to go every single day to fetch water. What does it mean? 365 days a year. Now they go once in 5 days. So that's about 72 days a year. That much time is freed up to pursue educational and economic opportunities. So this also helped decrease gender barriers, as I mentioned, and greater convenience, lesser water contamination because there's a lid, and greater empowerment overall. So understanding the potential of these roller tanks to uplift rural societies, we took this project to our state chief minister. With her support, we rolled out our roller tanks across West Bengal. Over time, what had started with Geeta is now available in multiple states across the country: West Bengal, Orissa, Jharkhand, Bihar, and even Rajasthan. Approximately, we have been able to touch 6,500 villages and over 4.2 million lives. So, at the end of every successful project, I think of Geeta. If not for that one visit, if not for that one person, I would not be here talking to you today. And now, moving to our next innovation, which is very, very close to my heart. It's a COVID innovation, which me, along with my team, sat, in my house, just on the laptop and developed during COVID. It's the contactless hand wash station. So innovation is not about complex technology. As you know, when I was just walking to this hall, I saw all the lovely children here in the hall. They've put up an exhibition of their projects, and I'm really excited to see after my talk, what you guys have done. And definitely, innovation is not about complex technology. It is about solving everyday problems and adapting to change. During COVID, the need of the hour was a contactless, safe hand washing unit. So we created this foot operated, splash free solution that worked with or without piped water. We have over 3,700 units installed, 1,500 funded by the UNICEF in 3 states. And our other clients besides the UNICEF include Oxfam India, the Indian Army, the Indian Navy, the Netaji Subhash, Kolkata Police. Besides that, the Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy, the Cancer Research Hospital, Medica, schools, colleges, etc. And even clubs in Calcutta, such as the RCGC, Tollygunge Club, etc. From crisis response today, it has evolved into a lasting solution to a better hygiene movement. So, when I actually launched this product with my team, we thought this was going to be a standalone product just for COVID times because it was meant for just washing your hand with soap and water and not touching anything. So we thought this would probably last just till COVID lasted. But surprisingly, over the last few years, even though COVID's gone, we've been getting repeat orders for this because what was just a COVID innovation has turned into a better hygiene movement. So moving on, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals have been designed as a blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet now and in the future. Both our projects, the Water on Wheels and the Contactless Safe Hand Wash Station, connect to several UN Sustainable Development Goals, specifically good health and well being, clean water and sanitation, gender equality, climate action, and many more. So I'm a firm believer that every problem has a solution. You simply need to find it. I wanted to empower our community to save water, and I did that via various awareness campaigns across media. We built awareness through newsletters, radio, television, panel discussions, and talks like today's, both nationally and internationally, in person and online. We are honored to have touched lives across the board: schools, hospitals, government projects, public and private sector organizations, and many more to drive sustainable solutions. So, on the screen, you can see a couple of letters. We received letters of appreciation from the Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy, some from the Agricultural Society of India, applauding us for the work we've done. And also for the Water on Wheels project, we've received letters from schools in rural Rajasthan, in a place called Hirapur in Rajasthan, for the roller tanks which we've distributed in those areas. So I began this journey not with a product, but with a question. How can business create change that truly matters? Innovation does not have to be complex or expensive. Innovation is not about changing the world in one big step. It is about wheeling small changes every day. My challenge to you is this: do not wait for day zero. Be the wheel of change in your community, in your workplace, in your country. Because water should never be a luxury, because every drop counts. And to end, here's a short video to help remember that the future is here, the future is now, and the future is you. Thank you.
एक दिन हमारे गांव में किसी ने नहाने का सावर रख दिया। हमारे आधे गांव ने पानी पी लिया और एक शहर वाले का नहाना अभी खत्म ना हुआ।
Thank you so much for listening to me. Thanks for your patience. And as Jyoti ma'am said, and I resonate, let's all be a water warrior. Let's all be a Jal Rakshak. Thank you once again.
I would request you to kindly stay back for the Q&A. If there are any questions that you have in your mind, please raise your hand. Can I have a microphone for Dr. Rudra?
Madam, congratulations for the project like Water on Wheel. But I have one anxiety in mind. As it rolls, water has a power to erode. Is there any possibility of mixing microplastic in water?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question once again?
Microplastic in water. Is there any solution for microplastic in water?
In the water and wheels?
As your tank rolls, as your water has power to erode any surface. So I'm afraid there is a chance of mixing microplastic. Have you ever thought about this?
So actually, my background is not technical, to be very honest, and I would need to check back with my team, but I'll definitely come back to you.
Yes, myself is Chairman Pollution Control Board.
Okay.
So if you can get back to me, I will be very happy.
Definitely.
Because this is an excellent project.
Yeah.
But some checking should be there that whether there is a chance of mixing of microplastic. Everywhere there is microplastic. Even in the bottled water we find microplastic. Okay. And this is globally the serious challenge.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that question. I'll definitely check with my team and come back to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Anyone else who has a question? Yes, please. Can I have a microphone for her?
Okay, so my question is, instead of making a water on wheels, we can transport the water to the villages instead of making the women work or the men work. Instead of, making, like these transportable waters, we can just easily make pipelines from the wells to the houses. So it makes, it saves more time, increases time productivity, and women, not only women, both men and women, they can save their time, they can put their time into education, their own work, and even children can use their own time productively. So that's definitely a big question. Instead of making water on wheels, we can just transport the water from the wells to the houses, maybe, I think. I think that's a better solution.
Preeyam?
So my view on this is, it's interesting that, you actually heard the whole thing and, you thought of something which is counterproductive. I feel that, the government, be it our state or even centrally, they are working on a lot of water initiatives where right now there is, water is, especially drinking potable water, is very easily accessible in urban India. But in rural India, there is no piped water access in most of the places, in like, really like the smaller districts. So the ultimate aim is to make it like urban India, right? Like in the semi-rural areas and rural areas, to get piped water access so that every home has their own piped water access, so that we don't even need to, go to the well to get water. It's the way right now you go to the basin, you get water. So ultimately, that's what the aim is. So till then, this is like an intermediary solution we've come up with for the roller tanks. But this is why I'm here for this talk, to look at other positive, innovative solutions that you kids have. And we'd be happy to work with you. If you have any other innovative ideas, definitely happy to work with you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Raise your hand if you have a question. Right. So I would request you to stay back on the stage, and I would request Ms. Sharma to come up on the stage again for felicitation. Ms. Jyoti Sharma, can we please have you on the stage? Can I request Mr. Pankaj Poddar, Executive Director, Chief Marketing Officer, Electrosteel, to kindly come up on the stage and felicitate Ms. Preeyam Budhia. Thank you so much for such an inspiring talk.